Hello everyone, you probably don't know me, but over the last few days I've been trying to come up with some new cards for Hearthstone that I think needs to be added to the game, because there are only a few decks that everyone plays in Constructed, and there's like no diversity in the higher rankings from like rank 10 to Legend or something. So I came up with some fun cards that I thought that would be good. So let's just get into it. So the first neutral card I want to talk about is the Earth Giant. I actually really like playing with the giants. When I came up with this card, I thought to myself, I have to stick with the thing that the other giants do too, that it's a reduced cost for a specific situation. So reduced cost from life or from the amount of minions on the battlefield or the amount of cards in your hand. So I thought the amount of cards that you have drawn from your deck. So let's say you've drawn 12 cards from your deck, this card will cost 8 mana. But the balance issue is that, for example, Miracle Rogues or Handlocks can get it really quick, but that's the same problem with Mountain Giant and stuff, and Molten Giant for Warlock. So I think it's pretty balanced at the moment, but I can't test it, of course, so we'll see. So the second card I want to show you is a rare and neutral card called the Null Scout. I've looked at the card list and I thought, what do I like, but what isn't good enough? And what isn't good enough for Construct at least is the direct damage, like Elven Archer or Stomp by Commando, and the card throwing system. Some people do use Loot Order or what is called Novice Engineer, but I thought, well, then you can join it together so that more people are going to be interested in playing some neutral early game cards. So that's the Null Scout. I think it's pretty balanced at the moment. I really needed some cool early game cards that can be consistent, but also very situational, depending on your enemy's board at the moment. The next card that I'm going to show you is Ladyfish. I actually think that it's from the World of Warcraft dungeon Black Phantom Deeps. So I thought I can't make it a legendary or something because it's like a level 25 dungeon or something. One card that I really like in the neutral section in Hearthstone is the Azure Drake. And I think it's actually really strong compared to all the other things from the neutral section, especially in the mid game. So I think that we need more stuff like the Azure Drake, combining multiple abilities to give to some minions to make the mid game a bit more interesting, if I can say it so. So up next we got the Treasure Keeper. The Treasure Keeper is actually a very interesting card, I think. I don't know if it's well balanced yet, but I think the concept is pretty cool. So it's a better card, deal 3 damage like the Fire Elemental than in the early game, so it's stronger, but it immediately forms a target for the opponent to draw an extra card for them. So you can either get a really good value, but once he kills it and he gets a bigger card advantage, it can really screw you over, I think. Maybe I should change it to 2 cards or make it a battle cry, because I don't think it's, or I do think it's too strong right now. The next card is the Headless Horseman. So the Headless Horseman is a legendary neutral card that costs 9 mana, is a 7/5 with charge and taunt. And in addition it gives all your minions their friddle summon a 2/2 Headed Pumpkin. So you can compare it with King Crush, and I guess Soul of the Forest and Alakir. But it's not too good, I think. mostly because a lot of people use charge minions to finish someone up, and for that they use Leroy Jenkins, or if they don't have it on Arcane Golem or something, because there's low cost cards and you can buff them up. And with the Headless Horseman it is impossible because of the 9 cost of the minion. But still, it is a decent meat shield. You can clear something from the board and still have the profit of the Death Rattle. So I think it's a decent card. It probably gets rebalanced somehow. Maybe Death Rattle is a bit too strong, but yeah, I'm happy with it. So there's actually going to be a few legendaries that I made for the neutral cards. And the second legendary is Janet's Khan from the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. So what I thought is a pretty new mechanic. I don't think it's anywhere else in the game. When you play it, it deals 1 damage and removes 1 attack from all the enemy minions, and Janet's Khan gets its attack and health as his own attack and health. So let's say it hits 3 minions, you get +3/+3. So it becomes a 5/6 for 6 mana, but you also deal the debuff to all the minions. So it's pretty interesting. Maybe stats wise it's still a bit too good, or the mana cost too low. Maybe you guys can leave a comment below how to change the legendary, because I think the idea is there, but it obviously needs some improvements to make it a viable card. But yeah, I'm still pretty happy with it. Okay, the final card is a card called Heroism. It is actually a legendary neutral spell, but it's not really a spell because it summons 3 minions. 1 3/6 with Taunt, a 3/6 with Wind Fury, and a 4/2 with Charge. So stats wise I'm probably going to change this card because the Wind Fury is a bit too good because of the Taunt that is there, and the 4/2 Charge is okay, and the Taunt also can have a bit less attack or a bit less health. But I think the idea is pretty cool, having because it can be really unexpected for someone that has an empty hand and then throws Heroism and suddenly has a very strong board. So yeah, I think the idea is pretty cool. There are no legendary spells yet in the game, so let me know what you think and what I should change. Okay, so we've gone through all the neutral cards so far that I've made, and the class that I want to start with is the Mage, because I don't think the Mage is interesting enough to play a lot with. I just think they could have done a lot more with the class. For example, introduce weapons. So I've had the idea to make a weapon for the Mage class, which is actually going to be the Forsaken One, for example. The Forsaken One costs 4 mana and is a 2/4 weapon, and it actually has +1 spell power. But each time you cast a spell, it loses 1 extra durability, so you can attack with the weapon, but if you cast a spell, it profits from the spell damage, but it reduces the durability by 1. So, nothing too complicated, but I think weapons would make a mage much more interesting. Okay, so there's 1 card in Hearthstone that got my attention from the beginning since I began playing in December. And that is Animal Companion from the Hunter class. Animal Companion summons a random beast, either a charge, a minion that gives plus attack to minions, or a very good taunt. And they had very good value for their 3 mana cost. So I thought to myself, why don't other classes have this ability, or not even something like it? So I thought of the card Element Specialization. It is exactly the same as Animal Companion, but now it summons the Fire Wizard, the Arcane Wizard, or the Frost Wizard. So the first wizard is the Fire Wizard, and it's pretty interesting. The Fire Wizard gains +2/+1 at the end of all your turns, so that means if you play it, and you end your turn, it becomes a 4/3, which is the standard amount of value on a blank card. And if it survives another turn, you attack, maybe dies, but if it doesn't die, it gets 2 more attack and another 1 health. It does pose an increasing amount of threat on the board, and it only gets 1 health per turn, so it can get killed pretty quick, but still, the value is pretty good. The next wizard is the Arcane Wizard, and the Arcane Wizard is actually the same as the Dalaran Wizard, or the Dalaran Mage, I think. That is a 3 mana for a 1/4, but then with 1 spell power. And because element specialization is a random reward, so you don't always get Arcane Wizard, I think these 2 spell power makes it actually a very good card to just to stay on your board and make your frostbolts do a lot of damage, or your arcane missiles or whatever. Because not a lot of mages use spell power except from Azure Drake or sometimes the Blood Mage Vanas. So the last wizard is the Frost Wizard. It's actually really close to Ragnaros, dealing damage at the end of your turn and not being able to attack. I don't know if 4 damage is too good, because it is like having a free arcane missiles at the end of your turn, free with 1 spell power. So I'm probably going to lower it down to 3 damage, or reduce the health of the minion. Because just like Ragnaros, you can give it on or something. So I don't know yet. The next card is Scourging Apprentice. As you've probably noticed, I am a really big fan of direct damage, especially on minions. So I got the inspiration from Fire Elemental, because no one can deny that Fire Elemental is a really good card in either Arena or Constructed. So I thought the Mage is a pretty obvious candidate for having direct damage on her creatures. So the Scourging Apprentice, the stat line is actually not very good, but the damage better cry can actually make it 2 for 1, or at least 1 for 1. Next are some spells that I created, some spells that are for utility, new secrets, or stuff like this. So there was a skill in World of Warcraft that let you make food for your party or for yourself, called Conjure Food. So I thought, why not do it in Hearthstone? So for 3 mana you get 2 apples, and 1 apple restores 5 health and costs 1 additional mana to cast. So you can cast this on turn 2 or turn 3. And maybe late game you can restore 10 health to your character without your opponent remembering that you got those healing cards in your hand. So a pretty good new spell, I think. The following card is my favorite spell from the Mage, and it is called Living Balm. Living Balm works about the same as Blessing of Wisdom. You just choose a minion, it gets the effect on him, and when the minion dies, adjacent minions take 4 damage. So the downside of this card is if your opponent only has like 1 or 2 minions. So if he only has one other minion, then 4 damage for 4 mana is not very good. And if you can't kill his minions, then it's also not a good card, but if he has a lot of minions like a Zoo Warlock, this can be an extremely good card. So we've already come to the final card for today, and also for the Mage so far. The final card is a secret called Ice Shards, and it's actually very similar to the Hunter's Explosive Trap. It's only triggered when a minion attacks, and when a minion attacks your hero, deals 1 damage to all enemies and it freezes them all. So what a lot of people do is they attack with a small minion, and all their big minions are frozen, and they can't attack anymore with the rest of their turn. But it just costs you 3 mana, and they have to attack your hero. And maybe I'm even going to balance it so that it only affects minions and not the hero. I thought it's a nice turnaround for the mage. It's pretty different from the other secret they have so far. So yeah, that were the last cards for the mage. So that was it, guys, for today. I'm planning to make a lot of episodes for this series. If you like it, please hit the like button and leave a comment below for cards you like to see, new heroes you like to see, new hero powers, or just in general something. I'm planning to do 2 heroes, or maybe even 1 hero per episode if the episode doesn't take too long, because this episode is already like 40 minutes, so I'm going to keep it a little shorter next time. So yeah, see you next time.